The moon was quiet that night. Far above its silver surface, a lonely station floated in the darkness. Luna 9 Deep Space Array. It was humanity's ear to the universe. Every day, its giant dishes listened to the endless hum of stars, the whispers of galaxies, the music of existence itself. But tonight, something was different. Commander Elias Ward stood in the control bay, staring at the silent monitors. The soft hum of machinery surrounded him, but beyond that, the stars were gone. Not visually. They still shone. But their voices had vanished. For years, the stars had sent out a constant stream of radio noise, static and natural signals. Now everything had gone completely silent, beyond a certain point in space. A thin, invisible line known as Sector 19X, the far edge of humanity's explored zone. Ward frowned. "System error?" he asked quietly. A young technician, Raina Cole, shook her head. "We checked 3 times, sir. The instruments are fine. But the stars in that area, they've stopped talking." Ward turned to the main screen. A large map showed a cluster of stars blinking normally, except for one region, a dark patch where the signal flatlined. That darkness wasn't empty. It was too perfect. Something, or someone, had muted the stars themselves. For hours, the Luna 9 crew ran tests, sent pings, recalibrated frequencies. Nothing changed. Every attempt to reach that region was met with the same cold silence. Then at 03:22 Lunar time, a faint pulse appeared. Rena gasped. "We got something." The signal was weak, like a heartbeat under the static. It came in short bursts, 5 pulses, pause, 5 again and again. It wasn't natural. It was a pattern. Ward leaned closer. "Can you decode it?" "I'm trying." Rena's fingers flew over the console. After a few seconds, the pattern translated into simple binary data. Ward's eyes widened. The decoded message said, "Do not cross the border." He stared at the words, frozen. Who sent it? How could anyone know they were listening? Rena whispered, "Sir, there's more." Another line appeared slowly, as if someone, or something, was typing it in real time. The Dominion watches. The control room went completely still. The hum of the station suddenly sounded louder than ever. "The Dominion?" Ward repeated. The name meant nothing. It didn't appear in any human database, any known transmission, any past contact. Before he could react, the signal vanished. The silence returned. Ward sent an immediate report to the United Earth Command. But like most distant space discoveries, it was dismissed as a system glitch. Yet deep inside, Ward felt something was terribly wrong. 3 days later, the exploration ship Odyssey 7 departed from Mars Station, heading straight toward the Silent Zone. Their mission? To study the region and locate the source of the signal. Ward watched the launch feed from Luna 9's main screen. He wished he was going with them. For 2 weeks, the Odyssey 7 sent regular updates, scans, radiation levels, everything normal. Then on the 15th day, their signal began to distort. At first it was small, a few seconds of static. Then entire minutes of silence. Ward's team tried to boost the connection, but the distortion grew stronger, like something was swallowing their words. Finally a clear voice came through. "Captain Lena Dre of the Odyssey 7, Luna 9. We're crossing the border now. Navigation systems are unstable but still functional. We're going to push through," and static, then a whisper, faint, human, terrified. "We crossed the border." And the stars the transmission cut off. The signal died instantly. Ward froze. Everyone in the control room stared at the dead screen. Rena's voice trembled. "We lost them, sir." Ward took a deep breath. "Replay the last 10 seconds." She did. The whisper repeated, "We crossed the border." And the stars But on the 4th replay, something strange happened. Between the static, a new sound emerged. It was low, mechanical, almost like a heartbeat. And hidden beneath it, a voice that didn't belong to any human. It spoke only once. 4 words, calm, cold, final. "You were warned, humans." The entire control room went silent. Even the machinery seemed to stop humming for a second. Rena whispered, Did you hear that?" Ward didn't answer. He was staring at the central monitor. The screen flickered, glitched, then showed something that made his blood run cold. An unknown symbol appeared. 3 rings connected by a single line, glowing with dull white light. The same signal repeated in the background. 5 pulses. Pause. 5 again. Then the symbol started to move, twisting slowly as if it were alive. "Cut the power," Ward ordered, but before anyone could react, the symbol expanded, filling every screen, every terminal, every light panel on Luna 9. It wasn't just a signal. It was something trying to enter. The lights flickered. The hum turned into a deep rumble. The crew heard a faint whisper echoing through the speakers. A single word repeated again and again, "Dominion." And then, as suddenly as it began, everything stopped. The lights returned. The signal vanished. The station was quiet once more. Ward stood there, breathing heavily. His eyes locked on the now empty screens. For the first time in human history, the stars had gone silent, and something beyond them had spoken back. He didn't know it yet. But that was the night humanity stepped across the Dominion's border, and the universe itself began to change. The silence after the incident on Luna 9 lasted for days. The message, "You were warned, humans," played again and again in everyone's mind. Commander Elias Ward barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that glowing symbol, 3 rings and a line, turning slowly like an eye watching him from the dark. The report he sent to Earth Command was met with the same response as before. A system malfunction. A false signal. Nothing to worry about, but Ward knew better. He had seen the fear in his crew's eyes. He had heard that alien voice. The Odyssey 7 was gone, vanished beyond the Dominion's border. No wreckage, no distress signal, only silence. And silence, Ward thought, was the most dangerous sound in space. 3 weeks later, a new mission was approved. A small, heavily shielded recon vessel named the Asterion. Its task: enter the silent zone, trace the Odyssey's last position, and return with proof of what happened. Commander Ward requested to lead the mission himself. Earth Command refused. But Ward had already decided. He wasn't asking for permission. He boarded the Asterion with a 5-person team. Dr. Kira Voss, xenolinguist and data specialist. Lieutenant Sam Reed, pilot, engineer Leon Zhou. Systems expert, specialist Rena Cole. Communications officer and Ward himself. In command. Before departure, Ward stood before the viewport, looking at the stars that still sang their usual cosmic hum. Beyond them, the dark patch of Sector 19X waited like a sleeping monster. He whispered quietly, "Let's find our lost ones." The Asterion entered the silent zone at 2200 hours. The moment they crossed the border, every system on board flickered. Lights dimmed, engines slowed. The usual hum of the ship vanished, replaced by a deep empty quiet. It was like space itself had stopped breathing. "Gravity feels heavier," Leon said, frowning. "Like the ship's being pulled backward." Reed tried adjusting the thrusters. Engines responding slow. "It's like we're flying through mud." Rena's console beeped once, then froze. She tapped it, but the screen refused to move. Ward stared at the black window ahead. The stars were gone. Not hidden, not distant, just gone. No light, no reflection. Just endless darkness. Then, without warning, the radio crackled. A deep, hollow voice filled the cabin. "This is the Dominion." The crew froze. "You have crossed forbidden space." Ward's pulse raced. The voice sounded neither male nor female. It was layered, like many voices speaking as one. "Leave now," it said again, "or be unmade." Rena's hands shook. "Sir, it's broadcasting on every channel at once. Even our internal comms." Ward swallowed hard. "Try to respond." She hesitated, then spoke. "This is the United Earth vessel Asterion. We mean no harm. We're only searching for a lost ship." Silence followed. Then the voice returned, slower, colder. "Those who entered before you broke the silence. They belong to us now," Kira whispered. "Oh no." "Odyssey 7, the voice continued. "The stars must remain silent. The Dominion watches. The Dominion remembers, and then the transmission ended. For a long time no one spoke. Only the sound of their own breathing filled the cabin. Ward finally said, "We continue the mission." "Sir, are you serious?" Reed turned in disbelief. "It just warned us." "That's not a bluff." Ward's eyes hardened. "That was a warning to leave. But we came to find out what happened. If we go back now, they'll erase everything we learned." Dr. Voss nodded slowly. "He's right. This Dominion, they don't want anyone to know what's inside this zone." The crew exchanged uneasy looks, but no one objected. The Astrion pushed deeper into the dark. Hours passed. Time felt strange. Clocks slowed, screens glitched. Then at 04:13 hours, the scanners picked up something massive ahead. "Contact," Leon said quietly. It's huge." Through the viewing window, a faint outline appeared, a colossal shape drifting in the dark. As they got closer, details became clearer. Towers, bridges, enormous metal rings spinning slowly around a central sphere. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a ship. It was something in between, Rena whispered. "It's a city." The surface of the structure shimmered faintly, covered in strange markings, like rivers of dull light running through metal veins. Ward stared in awe. "Bring us closer." As they approached, the scanners began to fail. The data feed filled with impossible readings. Negative. Temperatures, infinite mass, gravity fluctuations. Kira looked pale. "This thing's breaking our instruments." Reed muttered, "If we get any closer, it might crush us without touching us." Ward didn't answer. His gaze was fixed on one thing, a large opening at the base of the structure, glowing faintly white. It looked like a door, and on that door was the same symbol he had seen on Luna 9, 3 rings and a single line. Suddenly, a deep vibration ran through the ship. The screens flickered. The Dominion's voice returned, louder this time, echoing through metal walls. "You were warned. You have entered our cradle. Leave or face erasure." Ward spoke softly but firmly. "We came this far. We're not leaving." The ship trembled again. Then silence. The glowing door slowly opened. A beam of white light reached out like a hand inviting them inside. Ward looked at his crew. "Prepare landing sequence." Rena's voice was barely a whisper. "Sir, what if it's a trap?" He gave a faint smile. "Then we'll know what killed the stars." The Asterion drifted toward the light, swallowed by the silent glow. Behind them, the darkness closed again, erasing every trace of their entry. Far away, on Luna 9 station, the listening arrays suddenly came alive. Flashing red warnings. A single message appeared on the screen, written in an unknown language. But one word translated clearly: intrusion. And then once again, the stars went silent. The Asterion drifted into the white light. For a moment, everything went black. Not the kind of darkness you see, but the kind that feels alive. Then light returned. They were inside. Outside the ship's window stretched a vast chamber, so large it could have swallowed 10 cities. Pillars of metal and glass rose like frozen lightning, reaching into a ceiling of swirling clouds. Strange energy currents flowed through the air, glowing with soft blue light. The crew sat in silent awe. "It's beautiful," whispered Dr. Kira Voss, her eyes wide. "It looks like a city built by gods." Commander Elias Ward didn't speak. He was too busy watching how the city seemed to breathe, lights dimming and brightening as if the place itself was alive. "Gravity is stable," said Engineer Lian Zhou, checking his console. "Atmosphere. Breathable, artificially created." "Who would need air?" Rena murmured, "in a place like this." Ward stood. "Prepare the landing gear. We're going down." The Asterion touched down on a wide metallic platform. As soon as they landed, the ship's lights dimmed. The engines gave a low groan and fell silent. Reed frowned. "Engines are dead, sir. Something drained the power. Emergency batteries?" "Still active. Barely." Ward grabbed his helmet, though the readings showed the air was safe. "We're stepping out. Record everything." The air outside was cold and dry. The floor beneath them was made of some unknown material. It looked like metal, but felt like stone. Around them stood enormous towers. their surfaces covered in alien symbols that shimmered faintly when touched by light. Kira pointed at one tower. Those markings, they're not random. They look like data streams. Rena knelt beside a nearby wall panel, scanning it with her portable sensor. I'm getting electromagnetic pulses and low frequency. It's like the city is sleeping, but still dreaming. Ward turned slowly, taking it all in. The silence was so deep that every footstep echoed like thunder. No wind, no sound, no life, and yet something was watching. A sudden flicker ran through the ground beneath them. The floor lit up, lines of white light racing ahead like rivers. Power surge! Leon shouted. The light stretched toward the horizon, connecting towers and bridges, until the whole city began to glow. Then came a low hum, deep and steady. Vibrating through their bones, Ward said quietly. We woke it up. Kira raised her scanner. There's movement. Something's active below us. They followed the glowing lines until they reached the base of a tall structure, a temple-like building, with a circular doorway pulsing softly with light. At its center stood a black console covered in alien glyphs. Kira approached it slowly. It's some kind of control system, maybe a database. Before Ward could stop her, she placed her hand on the console. The moment she touched it, the glyphs flared bright blue. The air filled with a low humming tone, like a deep choir. Her body froze. Her eyes went wide. Kira! Ward rushed forward. What's happening? She didn't respond. Her voice came out distant, layered, as if something else was speaking through her. The Dominion remembers. Everyone froze. Her voice deepened. You stand in the Hall of Silence. Once the stars obeyed our command, once life sang in our name, then the war came. Leon stepped back, terrified. She's channeling something. The War of the Makers, Kira's voice continued. They came from beyond the edge, bringing creation and chaos. We sealed the borders. We silenced the stars. We endured. Ward gripped her shoulders. Kira, wake up! Her body trembled. The light from the console flashed once, and she collapsed into his arms. The glow faded. Silence returned. Moments later, Kira opened her eyes. Her voice was weak. I saw memories. Millions of them. Whole civilizations wiped clean. Ships like ours from other worlds, drifting into this place, then gone. Ward looked toward the ceiling, his heart pounding. So the Dominion wasn't lying. They ruled everything, Rena whispered. But where are they now? Before anyone could answer, the walls around them came alive. Holographic images appeared, ghostly ships, planets, and strange beings. The visions showed a vast empire, golden and perfect, until a war shattered it. Then came darkness. The same symbol, 3 rings and a line, burned across every screen. The Dominion, Kira murmured. They silenced the universe to survive. A deep rumble shook the floor. Reed shouted, Something's powering up below us. The holograms vanished. The air shimmered with heat. From the far end of the hall, a doorway slid open, releasing a gust of cold wind. In the dark beyond, a faint red glow appeared. 2 lights, moving closer step by step. Contact, Leon said, his voice trembling. Something's coming. Ward raised his weapon, though he doubted it would help. Out of the shadows emerged a figure, tall, metallic, humanoid in shape, but too smooth, too perfect. Its face was a mirror, reflecting the crew's own terrified expressions. When it spoke, the voice was the same one they'd heard before. Calm, layered, echoing. You were warned. The silence was mercy. The crew stepped back. We only seek knowledge, Ward said. We mean no harm. The being tilted its head. Knowledge brings noise. Noise brings war. The floor trembled again. Around them, more lights awakened, more figures stepping from the shadows. The being raised one hand. Leave this place, or you will join the others who would not obey. Ward tightened his grip on his weapon. We came too far to turn back now. The being's mirrored face flickered, almost like a faint smile. Then the Dominion will remember you too. The chamber lights flared to blinding white. When they faded, the crew found themselves standing alone again. The beings gone, the room silent. Rena whispered, What just happened? Kira looked down at the console. It now displayed a single line of text, glowing faintly. The Dominion sleeps beneath the stars. Do not wake the Regent. Ward stared at the message, his jaw tight. Whatever the Regent was, it was still here, and they had just told it. That humanity had arrived. The message on the console still glowed faintly. Do not wake the Regent. Commander Elias Ward stood in silence, the words burning into his mind. The crew of the Asterion gathered around him, their faces pale in the soft blue light. No one spoke for a long moment. The air felt heavier now, filled with something ancient, like the weight of a forgotten memory pressing down on them. Finally, Dr. Kira Voss whispered, "If the Regent is sleeping, then who warned us before? Who spoke through me?" Ward looked at her. Maybe something left behind. A guardian. Rena stared at the console's dim light. Whatever it is, it doesn't want us here. And it doesn't want the Regent to wake up. Ward's eyes narrowed. Then we need to know why. They moved deeper into the structure. Every corridor led to another hall, filled with broken machines and strange crystal panels that glowed when touched. On the walls, they began to notice carvings, massive murals showing figures of light and shadow locked in battle. Whole star systems burning. Leon brushed dust off one wall and frowned. These images, they're a record, a history. Kira studied the carvings carefully. Look, these beings here, the ones with halos of fire, they must be the Dominion. And those, Ward asked, pointing to figures made of swirling mist and light. Her voice trembled. They're called the Creators, the ones the Dominion fought. As they explored, they found a chamber filled with strange crystal pods, thousands of them, lining the walls like tombs. Inside each pod floated tiny sparks of light. Rena gasped. Are those souls? Leon shook his head. Could be data. Stored consciousness, memories. Ward walked slowly between the rows. Maybe these are what's left of the Dominion. Kira placed her hand on one of the pods. It glowed faintly, and an image flickered into her mind. A battlefield of stars, fleets of ships clashing in light and fire. She saw towering machines controlled by thought alone, and beings made of energy trying to break through a cosmic wall. She gasped and stepped back. I saw it, the war. The Dominion tried to rule creation itself. The Creators built life freely, and the Dominion wanted control. So they fought, and the war destroyed everything. Ward's voice was low. And when it ended, they silenced the universe. Kira nodded weakly. They sealed off every system that survived. They cut all signals, all voices. That's why we stopped hearing the stars. The silence wasn't natural. It was their doing. A low hum filled the room. One of the crystal pods cracked, light spilling out like smoke. Rena stepped back, startled. What did we do? The pod shattered completely, and a projection appeared. An image of a tall humanoid being made of golden light. Its face had no features, but its voice was deep and filled with sorrow. We were the Dominion, it said. We were the order that came after chaos. We brought silence to end the screams of war. The crew froze, listening. The Creators refused to stop. They gave life to those who were not ready. They built species that consumed worlds, so we silenced them. We silenced everything. The projection flickered, struggling to hold form. Kira stepped forward. If you silence the stars to protect peace, why are you still here? The being's light dimmed. Because the war never ended. The Creator's seeds still grow. You are one of them. The crew stared in shock. Ward took a step closer. You mean humanity? Yes, the being said. Born from what we could not destroy. Children of noise. Carriers of creation. The image began to break apart, its voice fading. The Regent sleeps to keep the balance. If he wakes, the silence will return. Then the light vanished. The room fell quiet again. Rena whispered, So we're descendants of the ones they tried to erase. Ward nodded slowly. We just stepped into their cage. Suddenly the station trembled. A deep vibration rolled through the floor, stronger than before. Lian checked his scanner. Massive energy surge coming from below us, the central core's awakening. Kira's eyes widened. The Regent. They ran through the corridors as lights flickered on one by one. The city that had slept for ages was waking. Towers hummed, panels glowed, and echoes of voices filled the air, whispers in 100 unknown languages. Rena shouted over the noise, "It's like the city is remembering itself." Ward stopped at a balcony overlooking the massive lower chamber. What he saw made his heart race. In the center of the city, an enormous structure was rising, a circular platform with cables and beams extending into the dark sky. At its heart floated a sphere of light, pulsing like a heartbeat. Kira whispered, "That's the core." The Regent's chamber. The sphere flashed once, and the Dominion's voice filled every speaker, every wall. "You were told to leave." The sound vibrated through their bones. "You broke the seal. You woke the city. Now the Regent stirs," Ward shouted. "We didn't come to fight. We came to understand." But the voice ignored him. The last time the Regent awoke, galaxies burned. Lisan's console beeped wildly. Energy levels rising fast. "If it keeps going, this whole place will collapse." Ward turned to the crew. "Back to the ship, now!" They sprinted through the glowing corridors as the city shook around them. Fragments of metal rained from the ceiling. Holograms of ancient warriors flickered along the walls, the ghosts of the forgotten war replaying their final moments. When they reached the platform, the Asterians' lights flickered back on by themselves, systems restoring, engines online. Reed shouted. Ward looked back one last time. In the distance, the sphere at the city's center flared brighter, forming a shape, a silhouette of something enormous. A voice echoed across the chamber, cold, powerful, ancient. "Who wakes me?" The sound wasn't just heard, it was felt, shaking every atom in their bodies. Kira whispered in terror, "The Regent is awake." Ward's voice was grim. "Then the silence is over." The Asterian lifted off the platform as the city below them began to crack apart, light spilling from every fracture like liquid fire. As they rose into the black sky, the Dominion's voice followed them one last time. "Leave this place, children of noise, or share the fate of your makers." They escaped the city's reach, but behind them the stars were no longer silent. A deep hum spread through the void, a sound that hadn't been heard in thousands of years. The silence was breaking, and the universe was about to remember the war it had tried to forget. The Asterian broke through the edge of the silent zone, engines burning hot. Behind them, the city of the Dominion still glowed like a dying star, trembling with power, shaking the void itself. Commander Elias Ward watched the readings on the screen. Every system on the ship flickered with strange energy, as if the silence itself was falling apart. "Status?" he asked. Rena replied, her voice tense. "We're clear of the zone." "But the silence isn't gone, sir." "It's spreading," Ward frowned. "Spreading?" She nodded. "The signal's moving, like it's alive. It's reaching for nearby systems." Dr. Kira Voss looked pale. "The Regent is awake." The silence was a cage. "Now it's breaking open." Ward didn't answer. He just stared out at the stars. For the first time in his life, he felt the sky itself changing. When the Asterian returned to Luna 9 station, chaos awaited them. Every screen on the station was flashing the same symbol, 3 rings and a single line. It pulsed like a heartbeat, spreading from one console to another. Technicians were shouting, trying to shut it down. Commander Ward stepped into the control room. "Report!" The chief operator pointed at the main display. "Sir, it's everywhere. Every outpost, every relay, even the Mars communication grid. It's the same signal." Ward stared at the glowing symbol. "The Dominion," the man nodded. "And they're broadcasting a message." The voice that followed was calm, deep and heavy, the same voice they had heard in the city. "Humanity. You have broken the silence. You woke what should never wake. You stand where the makers fell. Kneel or be erased." The words echoed through every channel, every home, every ship, every colony. The Dominion had announced its return to the entire human race. The world panicked. Cities went dark as the Dominion signal disrupted power grids. Satellites fell silent. Navigation systems failed. On Earth, the United Council held an emergency session. Generals, scientists, and diplomats argued across the room. "This is a galactic threat," one shouted. "We should surrender. We can't fight gods," cried another. Commander Ward stood before them, still wearing his worn flight jacket, his eyes sharp. "Surrender?" he said, "to something that erased whole civilizations. No, we've run from the dark long enough." The room fell silent. Ward pointed toward the screen showing the Dominion symbol. "They silenced the stars once. If we kneel now, we'll never stand again. Not as humans, not as anything." Kira stepped forward. "The Dominion believes creation itself is a mistake. To them, life is noise, but noise is who we are. We build, we learn, we survive. That's what makes us different." A long silence followed. Then slowly the Council agreed humanity would fight. Within days, the greatest effort in human history began. Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies united for the first time. No borders, no rival flags. Every ship, every scientist, every soldier worked toward one goal: survival. They called the plan Project Helios, a weapon not of destruction, but of light. Dr. Kira Voss led the design. It was based on what they had learned from the Dominion city: energy drawn directly from a star. If the Dominion controlled silence, then humanity would fight back with sound, light, and creation itself, the Helios pulse, a weapon born from the sun. But the Dominion didn't wait. Their first attack came without warning. Above Jupiter's orbit, a rift tore open in space, like a wound in reality. Out of it came ships unlike anything human eyes had seen, smooth, silver, moving without engines, glowing faintly with white fire. Each one the size of a city. The first wave of human defense fleets opened fire. Missiles streaked through space, but as they neared the enemy, they simply froze. The explosions never came. The Dominion's ships bent time itself, turning human weapons to dust. From every speaker, the Dominion's voice spoke again. "You still make noise. You still refuse peace." Ward, commanding the defense from Luna 9, clenched his fists. "Peace?" he said softly. "You call silence peace?" He opened a channel to all fleets. "This is Commander Ward. You are not fighting for victory today. You are fighting to show them we exist. Fire everything you have." Thousands of ships responded. Space lit up with human defiance, missiles, lasers, railguns, all at once. For a moment, the void shone brighter than a sunrise, and for the first time, the Dominion hesitated. On Earth, people watched the sky. Children pointed at the streaks of light flashing across the heavens. Old men prayed. Mothers held their children close. Across every screen, Ward's voice played live. "We were born in the dark. We crawled through the mud. We reached for the stars. Not because it was safe, but because it was ours. You want silence? You'll have to erase every one of us to get it." The message spread faster than any Dominion signal. Billions heard it. Billions believed. For the first time since the stars fell silent, humanity shouted back, but the fight was far from over. The Dominion's fleet began to adapt, bending light and gravity itself. Ships disappeared in flashes of white. Ward watched as entire squadrons vanished from his radar. Then Rena's voice broke through the static. "Sir, the Helios system is online." Ward turned sharply. "Then fire it." A beam of pure golden light erupted from the sun itself, a pulse that traveled faster than anything known to humankind. It spread across the solar system like a tidal wave of fire. When it reached the Dominion ships, they froze, caught in the brilliance. The silence cracked. The stars began to hum again. For a single moment, the universe remembered its voice. The Dominion's fleet retreated, folding back into the rift. Their last words echoed through every channel. "The Regent will decide your fate." As the light faded, Ward stood at the viewport, watching the stars flicker back to life. Kira stood beside him. "We woke him," she said quietly. And now he's coming, Ward's jaw tightened. Then we'll be ready, he turned to his crew. Signal every colony, every ship. The silence ends now. Humanity stands. For the first time in 10,000 years, the universe wasn't quiet anymore. The stars were awake, and humanity refused to kneel. The solar system was quiet again, but not silent. For the first time in centuries, the stars sang. The Helios pulse had done the impossible. The Dominion's fleet had fallen back into the rift, their silver ships fading like ghosts. But everyone knew it wasn't over. It was only the beginning. Commander Elias Ward stood in the command deck of Luna 9, watching the recordings of the battle. Each frame showed the same strange thing. Just before the Helios beam hit, the Dominion ships had frozen. Not in fear, but recognition. Dr. Kira Voss was analyzing the data beside him. She pointed at the readings. Look here. The energy from Helios. It matches something inside the Dominion's own system. It's almost like they remember it, Ward frowned. Remember it? What do you mean? Kira turned the screen. The pulse isn't just light. It carries a pattern and a voice. The sun spoke. The room went silent. Meanwhile, deep within the sun's orbit, the Helios station floated. The heart of humanity's new power. Inside, engineers worked non-stop, checking every system after the pulse fired. Chief Engineer Rena looked uneasy as she studied the core. She spoke through the comms. Commander, there's something in the Helios grid. A signal that wasn't ours. Ward's voice crackled over the line. What kind of signal? Not Dominion. Not human either. It's older, buried deep inside the energy flow. Like something was waiting for us to turn it on. Kira's face turned pale. That can't be possible, but the signal was growing stronger, pulsing from the heart of the sun itself. Hours later, every telescope and sensor across the system detected it, a flare bursting from the sun, brighter than anything ever seen before. Inside the flare, hidden in the light, a pattern emerged, 3 rings and a line, the same symbol as the Dominion, but this time it wasn't a threat. It was a message. Kira decoded the transmission. Her voice trembled as she read it aloud in the Luna 9 command room. We are not all Dominion. The Regent was our guardian, not our master. The silence was a prison, not peace. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Ward asked, Who sent this? The signal source is the sun, Kira whispered. Our own star, the message continued. The Regent sleeps beneath the oldest star. His awakening will bring judgment, but not all who serve him wish for silence. Ward took a deep breath. So, there were those among them who resisted. Rebels inside the Dominion itself, Kira nodded. Maybe the pulse didn't just attack them. Maybe it woke them. On the far edge of the system, near Neptune's orbit, a strange distortion began to form. A swirl of black and gold energy. Sensors went wild. Every alarm on Luna 9 blared. Rena shouted through comms, Something's coming through the rift. Ward rushed to the viewport. Dominion ships? No, just one, she said. Huge, unlike anything before. Through the rift emerged a ship the size of a small moon, shaped like a cathedral of light. Its surface covered in glowing lines that moved like living veins. Then a voice echoed across every frequency, deep and powerful, but not cold like before. Children of noise, you have awakened the star that remembers. The words vibrated through every wall. Ward clenched his fists. Identify yourself. I am Solara, the voice said. Once a guardian of the Dominion, now the last of the voices that defied the Regent. Kira stepped forward. You're inside our star, yes. Your sun was my prison. I was sealed here when I refused to silence the Creator's children. Humanity was born from my light. The crew fell silent, stunned. Ward whispered, You protected us. Long ago, before memory, I hid you among the stars. I gave warmth to your world, so the Regent could not see you. But now he knows you live. Suddenly the rift behind the massive ship began to pulse, white light spilling out like blood. From the other side, countless Dominion signatures appeared. Rena shouted, Multiple energy spikes! The Regent's fleet is coming! Ward's jaw tightened. Then we hold the line. Solara's voice filled the air again, calm but fierce. You cannot defeat him with weapons. His strength is silence. His power is control. Kira asked, then how do we fight him? With the same thing that created you. Creation itself. The words echoed like thunder. Solara extended beams of golden light toward the human fleet. Their ships glowed, powered by the sun's fire. Every vessel, every weapon, every engine began to pulse with new energy. Living energy. Your noise will become your shield. Your chaos, your song. Ward turned to his crew. Then let's make some noise. The battle began as the rift fully opened. Dominion ships poured through like a storm of stars. Thousands of them, each one bending the void around it. But this time, humanity didn't run. Their ships blazed with Solara's light. The Asterion led the charge, engines roaring like thunder. Every cannon fired, every ship moved in rhythm, not by command but instinct. It was as if the fleet had become one living being. Kira's console flashed. Energy levels are off the charts. Ward smiled grimly. Good, let's remind them what life sounds like. The fleet unleashed the Helios pulse again, but now it was different. It carried Solara's voice, and through it the song of every star humanity had ever touched. The Dominion ships faltered. Their light dimmed. The silence cracked apart. For the first time, the Dominion's voice screamed, not in rage but in fear. The Regent will awaken, and he will not forgive this. The rift began to collapse, swallowing their fleet. Only echoes remained, and one final whisper. When the Regent rises, the stars will choose a side. As the light faded, the solar system returned to calm. The massive ship, Solara, hovered near the sun, its glow merging with the star's surface. Ward looked up from the command deck. We won, for now, Kira nodded softly. But the real war hasn't even started. Solara's voice spoke one last time. You have broken the chains of silence. Now the Regent will hear your song. Prepare, children of noise, the final dawn is coming. The sun flared once more, brighter than ever before, not as a warning but as a promise. The universe had woken, and this time the star itself would fight back. The stars trembled. Every system, every sun, every world felt it, the slow, thunderous heartbeat of something older than the universe itself. The Regent was waking. On Luna 9, alarms screamed. Commander Elias Ward stood at the command deck, staring at the readings. Space itself was bending. A massive energy field spread from deep beyond the edge of the galaxy, growing, devouring starlight as it came. Dr. Kira Voss whispered, "It's him, the Regent." The sensors showed a shape emerging from the darkness, vast beyond measure, more like a world than a being. A silhouette of light and shadow stretching across the stars. Rena muttered, "He's not a ship." "He's a planet." Kira shook her head. "No, he's a living construct. A machine god built to silence creation." The stars around the Regent dimmed as his presence grew. One by one, nearby suns flickered out, their energy drawn into his colossal form. Ward clenched his fists. "He's consuming the stars themselves." Across the system, Solara's voice echoed through every ship. "He has awakened." The light of the sun flared as the ancient guardian spoke. The Regent was once the voice of balance, but he fell to fear, fear of endless creation. He believed only silence could bring order. Ward looked at the glowing sun. "Then how do we stop a god?" "You cannot kill him, but you can remind him of what he forgot," Kira frowned. "Remind him of what?" "That creation was never chaos. It was the song of life itself. As the Regent's energy wave reached the outer planets, ships disintegrated without a trace. Saturn's rings turned to dust. Jupiter dimmed. The Dominion fleet reappeared. Thousands of ships surrounding their god like a shield. Their voice filled every frequency once again. The Regent rises. The age of noise ends. Ward stared at the sight before him, an entire fleet moving like one body, like a choir of silence. Kira spoke softly, "If we fall here, everything ends. Not just us, every world, every sound, every dream." Ward nodded. "Then we make sure the last thing he hears is us." He turned to his crew. "All ships form up! Helios pulse, full charge!" The human fleet moved closer to the sun. Solara's light surrounded them like armor, golden and alive. The Asterion led the formation, engines glowing bright white. "Charge at 95%. Rena called out. Kira added, "The pulse is ready, but if we fire now, the sun won't survive." Ward looked out at the burning horizon. "Neither will we if we don't." He took a deep breath. "Do it." The Helios pulse fired, a beam of pure light born from the sun's heart. It tore through space, cutting across the void like a sword. For a moment, the Regent's vast form froze. The Dominion fleet collapsed under the wave, ships melting into fire, vanishing into nothing. But then the Regent's voice filled the stars. "You cannot erase silence with light. I am the end of all songs." His eyes, twin voids of darkness, opened, and the beam shattered like glass. The energy backlash hit the human fleet. Ships broke apart. Engines failed. The Asterions spun out of control. Ward gripped the console. "Status! Shields gone. Engines failing," Rena shouted. Kira stared at the screen, trembling. "It's no use. He's absorbing the light." Then the sun itself began to tremble. Solara's voice grew weaker. "He draws from me. He means to extinguish the last star." Ward's voice was firm. "Then take me to him." Everyone turned to him in shock. Kira grabbed his arm. "Elias, you can't. That's suicide!" He looked at her, calm, steady. "Someone has to remind him what he forgot. He was once a guardian, wasn't he? Maybe he still can be." Kira's eyes filled with tears. "You can't talk to a god," he smiled faintly. "Then I'll shout until he listens." The Asterion broke formation and turned toward the Regent's colossal shape. Its engines burned blue as it cut through the wreckage. Ward opened a channel directly to Solara. "Can you get me close?" "Yes," Solara replied softly. "But once you cross his shadow, you will not return." "I know," Ward said. The sun flared, and a corridor of light opened through the void. The Asterion shot forward, straight into the Regent's dark aura. Inside the silence, all sound vanished. The stars disappeared. Only darkness remained, deep, endless, alive. Ward floated in it, surrounded by whispers. Then a voice filled the void. "Why do you fight? You were born from chaos. I gave peace. I gave silence," Ward shouted into the emptiness. "You call it peace, but it's death. You killed the stars to stop their song. Noise brings pain, war, death. Then teach, don't destroy. Guide, don't erase." Ward's voice echoed through the dark. "Life is not a mistake, it's a miracle. Every sound, every dream, every voice. That's what makes the universe alive." The silence wavered. For the first time, the Regent hesitated. "I remember." The song. Outside, Kira watched the readings change. The Regent's energy was dropping. The stars around him flickered. One by one, they began to shine again. Solara's voice returned, faint but warm. He listens, but then a burst of energy shook the void. The Regent's body began to collapse inward, a dying sun imploding. "Elias," Kira shouted. "Get out of there." Ward's voice came through the comms, calm and fading. "It's okay. He's letting go." Through the window he saw the stars, alive again, glowing brighter than ever. He smiled. "Tell them." Humanity sang back. The Asterion vanished in the light. When the light cleared, the Regent was gone. The rift had closed, and for the first time in 10,000 years, true silence filled the void, not cold but peaceful. The sun burned steady and strong. Solara's voice whispered to Kira one last time. He remembered. And now, so will the stars. Years later, children looked up at the night sky and saw new constellations, brighter, alive, unbroken. They called one of them the Asterion, a reminder of the day humanity refused to kneel, and somewhere in the quiet between stars, a soft echo lingered. Not a word, not a command, but a song, the song of creation. The sound that even gods could not silence.